All right, welcome to today's open forum, everybody. Happy New Year, and great to see all of your faces on here. Appreciate you guys coming to this meeting. There is not a lot that we're going to go over on this meeting as far from a learning perspective. We're going to go over the market a little bit with you guys, but I want to talk about some housekeeping issues. As you can see, I'm at the office today and not at my humble abode, and the reason is because I've got to be in the office all the time now because Michaela has left us. She's moved on to bigger and better things. She's amazing, and we miss her already. I miss her much more than you guys miss her, I guarantee you. Thank you. Is Romina here? If Romina is here, Romina, your check is ready. So that was Ebony bringing me your check. So that is what I'm doing. I am swamped under a pile of paperwork. I am covering both. I am hiring. You guys may have seen, some of you are my Facebook friends. You probably saw my Facebook post that we are hiring, and so we're working toward that right now. We've been interviewing, trying to find a good fit for you guys. The goal of that position is to serve you guys the best that we can, along with my position. That is more from a paperwork standpoint, and you guys know what a great job Michaela did. And we are looking for a suitable replacement for that position. So please bear with us as we go through that change. Michelle is still here to help you guys. I am still here to help you guys. I am getting lots of texts. Please, guys know emails and phone calls are better for me. If you can't, because I get tons of texts and I'm on the road and I'm this and that. I can't mark them unread like I do your emails when I'm on the road if I can't answer them right then. So bear with us as we make those changes. I want to talk to you about your 1099s. You will be receiving them. You'll be receiving an email. We do have to have you opt in to receive your 1099 electronically. Those of you who prefer to receive it electronically. And you can receive it both ways if you want. We're going to mail them. We legally have to mail them if we don't get them electronically. And the email will also we'll have a link for you to sign up for that. And it'll also have a link for you to sign up for, if you moved in 2024, we need a new W-9 from you. So we'll be sending out W-9s, and make sure that you put your new address on there so we send it to the right place. Otherwise, you will be sadly not receiving your 1099 and asking us a bunch of questions. We will send out some preliminary numbers, and you will have a deadline, and it will not be April 15th. It'll be sometime in February, a deadline to correct anything that you think is not right if it doesn't match your records. So we'll send them out to you guys. You can see if they match your records. Please keep in mind, the things that you spent money on, you need to keep track of, so you can, if you itemize, which I imagine you guys do, if this is your main source of income, you definitely do. You need to keep track of those things and write them off of your taxes. Okay, we don't do that for you. You have to do that yourself based off the gross numbers that we give you. The gross numbers we give you should match the actual checks that you got. Okay, what you spent on marketing and type of TCs and all that other stuff is up to you to write that off. Okay. Any questions on any of that stuff? So there will be, just to clarify, there will be an email coming out to you. Those of you who are here, the 45 of you that are here right now, will know this is coming. There will be an email to you. You will have a place to sign up for if you want your 1099 electronically, and a place to sign up if you need a W-9 sent out to you. Michelle will be sending out W-9s if you need new ones because you moved in 2024, or you have a new LLC or a PA, or that stuff. You need new W-9s. Any kind of license change to your name, if you got married or divorced and changed your name on your license, anything you did through that, you do. Now, you don't have to change your name if you get married or divorced with the state, but if you do, then we have to know about it for your 1099. Okay, and you have to let us know. I go through the roster every month anyway, so I would see that your names have changed, and I've had some surprises before. I'm like, oh, that person left us, and then I see that no, she got married and changed her name. So, or maybe divorced. I don't get in y'all's business. So, somebody, Daryl, I get in your business. But I appreciate all of you guys coming in. Do you guys have any questions about any of that stuff, the 1099s or any of that stuff? No? Okay, perfect. Let's talk about the market. I will share this with you guys. It's nothing that you probably don't have access to. I know you do. Give me just a second to share. You guys can follow along if you are in the Stellar system and you want to look along, but there's, you can just look at your screen. It's about to pop up. This is very interesting. Now, this is over the holiday. Obviously, this is a 7-day thing, so it starts right after New Year's. Lots of new listings, which is good. That's a good number for new listings. Look at the price decreases. Incredible numbers for price decreases. The back on markets is pretty good. Look at the canceled and the price increase is about the same number. That's about as that's a good number of a high number of cancels, not a good number, a high number of cancellations and withdrawals. Pending is low and sales are low, as you can see, but that's to be expected at the beginning of the year, beginning of the month and beginning of the year. And of course, tons of expireds because that's the time of year that people set them for. So there you go on that stuff. But the new listings is great, which means our inventory number is going to be up. Look at sold versus new listings. So inventory went up 2,000 homes in the Stellar area just this week, the 7 days. So lots of people decided to wait till the beginning of the year to put their house on the market, and obviously not a lot of them are going to sell like that. Where there are pendings, not a lot of pendings either. So lots of houses on the market. All right. And lots of houses back on the market. So I think people took them off for the holidays, put them back on too. You guys know people who did that as well. And people waited for the holidays to be over to put them on. I think this is just me, means absolutely nothing in the real world, but I think the market's going to pick up some here in the new year, especially now that the holidays, we have the election, we have all that stuff. And anytime that stuff gets passed, the market picks up. So it should pick up a little bit. Interest rates, hopefully they've been lowering the Fed, as you guys know, but it hasn't really been trickling down to the actual rates, which is not a direct correlation anyway. It's more the 10-year market, but it's they are expecting mortgage rates to drop to follow eventually. So, and consumer confidence to increase. So I think we'll have more buyers, and that'll get the market moving a little bit better. What are you guys seeing out there? Are you seeing a little more action in the new year? Maybe we only had one weekend, but anybody seen anything? A little bit. Do you guys have, are you guys picking up on people being interested in buying? Are you guys signing up buyers at all or having more showings at your listings?
I've actually kept busy for some reason, out of the normal. I don't know why I'm busy and everybody else is kind of slow. It seems like it's kind of weird. I'm now on my third closing now, I think next week, and I sold 2 in December. So I'm actually doing good, and I'm doing everything pretty much from my neighborhood that I'm advertising, and mostly my Facebook posts and stuff, because I do quite a few events and everything, the yard of the month, and I did a Christmas light winner, and it's getting momentum. People are looking at me and they're noticing me and asking questions, and it's going good.
Daryl, would you say that activity breeds success?
Yeah, I've always said that. And you got to kind of make activity. You got to do things. You got to have some kind of events, some kind of, just go out and do stuff. One of the things I do that I think I've told everybody in my neighborhood, I go out for walks. I like to walk. That's how I get my exercise, and that's how I relieve stress and blah, blah, blah. Well, I turn those walks around, and now I pick up litter with those walks. And then I post my litter walks on Facebook, and people love it. They praise me all the time. They're like, "You're so good to be a good neighbor like that." Just little things like that. It gets you noticed. It doesn't cost me anything. It helps my health, and it helps the neighborhood, and it helps the home prices and everything else. So you do what you got to do.
That is awesome, Daryl. That's absolutely awesome. People, I really love that, and I love what it tells everyone else too. I love that you do it, first of all, and I love that what it tells everyone else, and that's on this call right now. Nobody, if you're sitting in your underwear watching Jerry Springer, nobody's knocking on your door. You got to get out there and do stuff, and that's how long I've been saying that, as Jerry Springer was still popular, but still had a show, still alive, I should say. But if you're sitting at home watching TV, they still have The Price is Right. So if you're watching that, nobody's knocking on your door. And I love that, Daryl. That is awesome. Tammy, what do you think?
Daryl, do you use one of the little picker-uppers, or you use your hands? Picker-upper? Yeah.
Yeah, I call it a grabber walk. That's
Yeah,
how
yeah,
it is on Facebook. Is I'm going to go out and do a litter grabber walk, and everybody understands.
Daryl, I'm going to get you a jacket that says prisoner release, caution. Get you an orange jacket.
Realtor at work. How about realtor at work or something? Like
Oh,
wear
I
a
love it.
t-shirt that advertises.
I love that. Keeping your
Yeah.
home values up. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect one. That's
Mhm.
great. No, I just have a buyer coming from New York. Otherwise, I sold a couple at the end of towards the end of last year, but it's kind of been slow. I missed one stupid Zillow call. Who knows what that would have been, but other than that, my phone has been super quiet and hopefully it does. I actually I have a couple of listings coming up. But when you're getting a listing, I'm not super hopeful about those because of the way the market's been, but it's a listing.
Well, I think we need to be a little more excited because I think it is going to pick up. And I mean, that's what Ryan thinks, and Ryan doesn't know anything. So, but I really think things are going to pick up. There's a lot of pent up demand. I talk to regular people about this because they ask about the real estate market, just like you do. They ask you what the market's doing and all this stuff. And we talk about, and every time I tell them, yeah, a lot of people don't want to get out of their 3% rates into a 7%. And they say, that's why I'm not selling. That's why I'm not moving. Almost everybody wants to do something because it's been a couple of years of bad rate, a year and a half, 2 years of bad rates now. And they want to do something, but they don't. So the only people out there moving you guys are seeing are people who need to live close to mom or dad, or they've got to move for a job, or they've got to move for this or that. People aren't moving just because even downsizing. I talked to one person who wants to go, their kids have gone off to college, they have kids my kid's age, and they want to downsize from their 5-bedroom to a 3-bedroom, but they would be just as expensive. The downsizing would do them no good. So they don't even like cleaning the house that they've got, and they'd almost like to do it because of that, but they're not going to do it right now. It doesn't make any sense, even though the house prices have been steady. They haven't been going up. And so I talked to somebody yesterday who's a single lady, and she wants to buy, but she's holding off. She's she's like, both the prices are high and interest rates are high. So why would I buy now? And the problem is, once the interest rates go down, prices are going to shoot up. I think we know that when buyers start circling around again. And we've been just holding steady. It has not been dropping. People are waiting for the prices to drop, and they're not going to. You see price decreases, but that's because people started up a little too high. I mean, you guys know how that goes. They're just kind of holding steady. I don't think they're going to drop much, if at all. But then again, I think things are going to pick up. So that goes hand in hand with that. Tammy.
I forgot. I sent, some letters out, quite a few actually, showing people what their values were. And actually, I forgot, I got a call from a couple that it's been 5 years and they just had another baby and they're outgrowing their house. She's not in a hurry. And then and I have another people that got divorced or he has to move out. So that's one of my other listings. So yeah, I don't know if those letters kind of spurred that on or just, coincidental.
Well, I don't think you spurred on another baby or a divorce, but you spurred on them to call you instead of somebody else. And that's activity. I know, kidding, but that's activity breeding success, and that is that's beautiful. 2 things out of letters that you sent out, letting people know what their home values were. That is fantastic, guys. That's why we do things. My main point of all this is most of you didn't share your goals, but you all have goals for this year. Get out and do stuff to make those things happen. So Daryl, I'll go back to Daryl because I love that, Tammy. That's exactly what anybody, not to play your effort, but anybody can do that, right? It wasn't rocket science what you did. It was great that you did it. And Daryl with the yard of the month and all this stuff, yard of the week, is it yard of the week or month? Month. Brilliant. All the things that you're doing, brilliant, and they're creative, and people love that neighborhood feel, right? They feel like it's a community feel, and that leads them to their community realtor. You're not just out there. Daryl's taking more of a rifle approach than a shotgun. He's not just shotgunning the whole Orlando. He's taking a focused approach to his neighborhood, which is great. So get out there and do stuff. And I love that you sent those letters out. So how many letters did you send out, Tammy?
maybe 30.
And one out of every 50 letters she sent out turned into something. You guys think you can afford the stamps on those? That is
Actually,
beautiful.
maybe a little bit more than that, but yeah, some were handwritten. Then I got to the point I just did a printed one and then printed out the other thing. It went quicker that way, but I hand did the envelopes and stuff. So
Well, that's better than I would have done. I would have done about 3 and then my hand would have cramped up.
yeah,
Nobody writes anymore.
right.
So that's brilliant. And those things that you talked about, life events, we're outgrowing our house, but we're not in a rush. If rates were at 4%, they'd be in a rush, but they're outgrowing their house. They're not in a rush. They're getting a divorce. These are life events. This is why people are moving. The only people that are moving right now. That's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of
Exactly.
pent up demand, and that's pent up demand that we really could use a bigger place, but it's not worth it right now to get out of this payment into that payment. We're not paying $800 a month extra for a little bit bigger place, or whatever or $1,400 more, or whatever it would be. So I love that. Thank you, Tammy, for sharing. And I love the effort that is turning into money. If you guys aren't listening right now to people like Daryl and Tammy, I don't know what you're doing. Those of you who are newer in the business or young and getting started, or old and just want to make more money, then this is what you need to be doing. Mr. George, how are you, sir?
Well, good. The question I have is, the guys that do have listings and interest rates are an issue, are the 2-1 interest rate buy downs working for anybody? So if we take, it's about 7 on most loans that I'm seeing lately, high 6s. Are buyers reacting to the 2-1 buy down?
I mean, if I have a buyer and the rates are high, I do suggest that option to look into it with the lender to see what amount it takes to buy it down, if it makes sense. And if then you have to ask for it from the seller usually. So, but yeah,
I have a listing coming up, and so that's where I'm looking at. It is that, is anybody having success telling them
you could
they're doing
put
price?
it in your description, like if the seller's willing to do that, so much towards a 2-1 buy down. What's the price of your listing?
It's going to be around between 350 and 4. I'm having hard. It's a pool home on a golf course with solar. So it's been a bit difficult to come down with the price, and I may go out and actually have Kelly Kellogg come up with a price for me. But
Is the solar paid off? Is the solar paid off?
No, the solar's not paid off, but I told them they're going to have to pay it off. It was literally put on, and then the solar company went bankrupt. And so they've never really connected it correctly with Duke. I'm working with them on that. It's got a lot of stuff, but, and they're remodeling. The couple's in their 80s and they're doing their own remodel with the help of a handyman. It's going to be almost a complete flip when they get done. And I said, you guys have to start your own TV show. I mean, it's taken them longer. It's supposed to get on the market at Thanksgiving, and here we are. But she's been sick. I've been sick. It is, but I've told them because we're going to have to price it probably much higher because of all the amenities. They would, the significant other would like to have the buyer take care of the solar. But I'm saying this solar really doesn't have any value. It's a poor deal. I mean, solar companies in Florida that sells anybody with an AARP card solar, they're just committing fraud. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, that part of it sucks. But it is what it is. And then they're resigned to that. But so I've told them that a 2-1 buy down in this market is probably smart, and to see that. So I'm just kind of validating my humble opinion on that. I'm also telling my brother to do that in Colorado. So it is.
George, I maybe just put it like maybe a note in the realtor remarks, just to give the realtors an idea of maybe your seller would be interested in participating with the 2-1 buy down, some kind of wording for them to ask questions. Give them the idea. A lot of agents out there don't have those kind of ideas, and you got to kind of prod them. So I would maybe do that.
I was thinking
so-
about putting it in public remarks as, you know, it's got these amenities. It's really cool. You know, it's just a superb property, and it has a 2-1 buy down. But I was going to say initially, at least, with full price offer. So I wanted it into the public. I want the buyers that go on to Zillow and other automated
Which I'm
platforms.
thinking that, but you might be flagged for that. Ryan, would he be flagged for putting that?
I don't think
think
so.
No,
I've
it's not
seen it
compensation.
before.
Okay.
You know, you could call the lender and you might want to put a dollar amount on that. Kind of with a full price offer, $7,000 or $5,000 possibly, you know, because I don't know what a 2-1 buy down costs on that price home, but they're all kind of different.
Well, and I would calculate that in, Tammy, but and I've got a lender that I plan to use to do that. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I may put a limit on it, but I was thinking about more or less the 2-1 buy down with the full price offer. So that if they say, well, we want to, you know, drop the price 50 grand, then I would
Right.
drop then it's a negotiation, I guess, at that point.
Right, right.
So no
Yeah,
one else is doing this.
It's always something in my mind, and with buyers, when I'm showing properties, I always kind of throw that out there that we could, you know, ask for that and would lower your interest rate, blah, 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 blah. I think I mentioned it on my listings too, but I'm still a little ways away from getting my houses listed. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's
Because
Probably.
otherwise we're going to be doing price decreases as soon as that lack of showings show up in the first 2 weeks or the first month. And they're doing a lot of work on the house. So they want a premium price on it. But I've told them, you know, with interest rates hovering around 7, which is at the height of the average 100-year or however long we've been doing mortgages, we're at the average, you know, the 5 to 7% is an average rate, by the way. And so, and they're my age or older, so they've seen the 20% mortgage rates, and so they've, you know, seen the market, and they're smart. They're asking the right questions. So I was just trying to validate that other people are doing this, or it makes a difference. That I think it will.
I've just texted a lender to see how many people are actually doing this right now. I haven't seen them advertising it a lot, which tells me, like we did maybe a year ago. You guys remember we had Paul come on and Tom came on, as people have talked about it. But I haven't, and they were talking about it on their social media and stuff too. And now I don't see it as often. So I'm wondering if that is something that has kind of fallen aside, or like the popularity of it, or what. But I mean, it's a good idea if it works. Those of you who don't know what that is a seller. Usually, let's say it has to come from the seller, I believe is the actual rule on it. It has to come from the seller concession, where you can, the first year you get 2% off of your interest rate, and the second year you get 1% off of your interest rate. And the idea is that in 2 years you're betting on interest rates being better than they are now, but you're not completely betting. It's not an arm. You have a base interest rate, which right now, let's say it's around 7. So you'll be 5% your first year in the house and 6% your second year in the house. And then it'll be 7% after that for on. It's not an arm, but you are hoping that after 2 years, rates are down to 5 or 6% and you can refi. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Those of you who are not familiar with the 2-1. But we did have a couple people come in and talk about it over the last, as soon as rates got up to, you know, the 6s and 7s, and even they touched 8, I believe. So yeah, right now they're sitting right around 7. So it's a good thing. I mean, it all, just so you know, it all works out the same, but we've done the numbers on it. I'm an analytical person, so I did the numbers on it in the spreadsheet one time for you guys. We kind of worked out what that works out to, but it's kind of the same as them just giving them $10,000 off the price, except I think $10,000 off the price is better, because when they go to sell it, they'll have less in it, but regardless, it doesn't matter. The thing I worry about with that house, George, obviously, and I'm not telling you, I'm telling everyone, is you've got them giving money for the solar now. You've got them giving all the renovations they've done and money they put into it, and now this 2-1 buy down, I'm hoping it appraises at whatever price you have to ask for that to work for them. So that's always it's great to do all these things, but it's always the appraisal issue that comes up. So,
and that's why I was thinking about pre-appraising it, because I'm having a hard time coming up with enough good comps, same era. The house is 30-some years old. And the market's a bit slow. So coming up with comps has been a bit of a challenge because it's a unicorn 3 times over. And,
right.
And so, but I think the house did need to be upgraded. It would have been, there was quite a bit of deferred maintenance on it, and what they're doing top-notch work. And so, and everything I've put on a punch list, they're taking care of. It's been an amazing couple to work with. It just, the reality of it is where do we want to go? And because I think we're going to be well above the average house in that neighborhood, that if it doesn't pre-appraise, it'll sit there a long time, and then we'll be just gradually dropping the prices, 1 to 3% every so often. And that's I've played that game before. I don't particularly like it. So I'm probably going to eat the price of the appraisal because I can't come up with one. And Kelly Kellogg's who I'd used to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
maybe ask for a pencil appraisal. See if she can do a pencil appraisal on it.
Okay, she typically doesn't, but
depends on how much business you send her.
Yeah.
Every time I ask for one, I get one.
Okay.
You gotta ask the right person.
and you use Kelly, don't you, Daryl?
I don't actually. No, I
Who do you
use
use? You sent me somebody that I'm going to have come in and talk
certified
to us.
appraisals. They've been around forever. Cecil Wright and Bert Wright. Actually, I think Cecil retired, if I remember right. So Bert Wright, he does all my and I ask him all the time for pencil. If I can't come up with a price myself, which happens all the time, because like you said, we get a lot of unicorns. I send it to him and I said, hey, what do you think about my price? And he gives me a yes or a no, or a don't touch it, or do touch it, or whatever.
Does it charge you for that?
No.
I'd be willing to pay for it, but
I've been using them for 15 years. So
what did you say their name was? Certified?
Certified appraisals. I think they're up in Longwood, if I remember right.
Yeah, you sent me Kelly's information, Daryl. I knew I wasn't crazy. You sent me Kelly's information, maybe have her on the meeting sometime, and she sends out an upgrade list, which is a great list.
I sent you her name only because of because I remember we used to get the green lists, all the upgrades and stuff. So that's why I sent you her name.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it again.
She teaches at Aura as well, probably all the boards, but yeah, she's a great resource.
I'm sharing her list right now so you guys all know what we're talking about. Let me blow it up for people like me who can't see very well. Just kind of things that the values that they give things. And you can use these to kind of see what it's worth I would take these to your owners, your sellers, to your listing appointments and any other appointments you have with them. And so they have this on hand. They kind of see if it's worthwhile to spend money on fixing certain things. Like George's people put a lot of money into it. And a lot of it was deferred maintenance, like he said, things that would stop it from selling or stop the sale from going through, things that would show up on inspection and waste both time and money. And time is money in this business, obviously, with mortgages and everything else. But not waste their money. So yeah, you look at these. This is from 2021, but it's nothing changes.
Can you have Michaela Standens email that to us?
What this list? Yeah, we'll put it on. We'll put it on Paperless Pipeline under the.
Oh, that'd be
tab.
good. Okay, good.
All right, so you guys can reference it anytime. But sure, here it is. I'll send it to you guys. All right, so that's kind of what we're talking about. But I always think appraisals are a good idea. If you have to do it, guys, and I'm telling you guys this, I'm not telling you this necessarily, George, but this couple, because this couple seems great. Not every couple is great to work with. Not every person is great to work with. If you guys, I always recommend you guys get a pre-appraisal on anything over, $600,000-700,000, so you know where you are and it's worthwhile with your commission. But put it into your listing agreement, so you get and put it as a cancellation in the cancellation fee, so you guys don't eat it if they cancel you after a month, or if they're not great to work with. I think George will be fine with these people, but put it in the cancellation fee. Cover yourself on that with $500 or something to make sure you're covered. Celeste.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to say, as we were talking about activity, I had an open house last week on one of my listings, and it surprisingly led to an offer that we're still trying to work out, but it led to an offer, and the sellers, they were very happy that I suggested the open house. They've been resisting the price drop, so that worked out pretty well. And I feel like we do need to do a price drop, and that's going to be my next suggestion if this offer doesn't work out. But yeah, it's, things are slow, but we just got to keep moving and show our clients. I actually, someone else that walked in the open house, they're having issues with credit, but we're working through those. So it might be another lead that we might not be able to work in the next week, few weeks, but I feel like in 6 months they might be ready to buy. So things are hard, but things are moving as well.
Awesome. Love to see that. Activity breeding success. Who would have thought? Great job, Celeste. Somebody, I want to cover a couple things in the chat. Daryl, do you mind putting your appraiser info in there? People are very interested. And now your appraiser won't have time for you, but that's okay. Carolina, the rate buy down, love to learn more about it. I hope I kind of explained that well enough. It's just a buy down of it. Has to come from the seller, from the sale, from the concession. Doing this from the office, and phone rings, everything's going on. Has to come from a concession and the sale. So, but it's 2% first year, 1% the second year. And Brian joined a Jumpstart program. You guys can check that out if you want. Thanks for sharing that, Brian. So great, Celeste. I love to hear that. I love to hear these open houses. I love to hear them paying off, guys. We have open house signs here. If you guys need them, you can borrow them. We have a deposit that you guys make. You get all the money back when you return them. If you return them, I should say, because somehow we have to order new ones all the time. And so we have open house signs for you guys. What else? Any other question you guys have about the market, about anything that's going on here? Somebody, Tammy Pipkin from Orlando.
It's not really about the market, but did you see the email that came out that there's a new addendum for condos? That you have to, there's 3 things about condos, like the 3rd floor condos, or there's some condos that have to have that inspection.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's new. I just sort of skimmed over it, that we now have to.
Yeah, they started that when the one in Miami collapsed. They started with new guidelines and stuff for condos and new disclosures and new stuff like that. But I'm not sure. I did not see that email. Yeah,
it just came out, and then I think they updated the seller's disclosure in that email too. I didn't really open them up and look. I did look at the condo one, but I think it was the Florida Realtors.
All right,
Sent that
that's
out.
fine. I'm gonna look up something real quick. I'm gonna look up the seller's
It said it was
property.
in Form Simplicity on that email, but I don't do Form Simplicity.
It'll be on both. They don't do one without the other.
I mean, I do Dot Loop, and normally Dot Loop gets them too.
Right. Let me find the seller property disclosure. There it is for condominiums. So the property disclosure, you guys, I hope you guys are doing this when you have a condo. It's separate. It's a different one than a regular one. Yeah, they were revised this year, October of this year. So it's all in the paperwork. It's all in the property disclosure sheet. So the seller's property disclosure condominium is what you're going to look up when you're selling a condo. And they've been there's nothing you have to do. Just use that one. It's the only one that you'll find on there unless you've got old, just don't use old ones that you've got saved somewhere. But so it'll be on both Transaction Desk and Form Simplicity, and I'm sure .loop. Just make sure it was revised October of 24th. Any other questions or comments? Daryl, thank you for sharing that information. All right, guys. All right, the 1099 stuff, just remind you, you'll be getting an email about that. I will be emailing you when we have a solid replacement for Michaela. I'll be updating everybody. You can still email sales at whoever we hire. The reason we did that sales at is so that's for that position. Doesn't matter what his or her name will be. Just keep emailing that, and they'll have a new. I'll let you guys know though when we fill that position, what that person's name is. Any other questions before we go? All right, guys. I'm very proud of you guys.
Carolina had her hand up.
Carolina, I see. Well, yeah, now I
Hi.
literally saw my hand up now. Hi, Carolina.
Hi, Happy New Year to everyone. I have a question and I'm struggling with this because I'm not sure what's going on. I did see the appraisal you put up, Ryan, with how to see what an item in a house is valued at. I did a CMA with the app that we have on the MLS, which is oh my gosh, I forgot the name of that app. RPM. And it kind of seemed RPR. Yes, RPR. It seems a bit low in terms of the value. It's in a home in Legends in Claremont on a golf course. And I'm not sure if people are experiencing that the house values are going down. And I wanted to add like any improvements, painting, that kind of stuff on RPR and what people's experience are with selling listings. Like right now, I'm trying to list that property and it's a little, I'm like on a fence in terms of my value, what's on the MLS, what's on RPR, and what to list it for. Because of number one, the market values, the interest rates, the this, the that. So I need some feedback on that. I have one potential listing in Claremont and one in Mount Verde. So I don't know what people are doing, but I seen that appraisal form that you put up, and I thought that would be a good sheet to have.
It's always a good sheet to have, but what price range are you in there on the golf course at Legends?
Well, when I looked at the information, he hasn't really done any updates, and $650 on a property similar to his that was a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story, really nice neighborhood on the golf course. So I just wasn't 100% convinced. I guess it's me, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I think maybe like we were just talking about, this pre-appraisal thing will be good for you too. I think it'll be really good for you, better than this. Now that's going to cost you, out of your own pocket. And that's what I was saying. Put that on your cancellation fee in your listing agreement. Get them to agree to it. Say, I'm going to do this. Maybe we split the cost, maybe we do whatever, but I'm going to just put it on their cancellation fee. And if they balk at the cancellation fee, which they usually don't, but if it's a $500 cancellation fee or something, plus you guys know you already have your marketing and stuff on there already. It already says reimburse all your marketing expenses plus whatever. And normally you guys do +0 or +500 or whatever. But when they ask about that, say, yeah, I'm going to pay for your appraisal, your pre-appraisal, so we can price these things correctly. Because what I wanted you guys to know, like we talked about, the market is really slow, especially for really nice houses like this in premium locations like the golf course. See how I'm building up their house and building up their ego. But on nice houses like this, there just aren't a lot selling. I showed you the only one that sold in the last 6 months, but I'm not really comfortable putting yours in that same price range. I think maybe we can do better, maybe we can't, but I want to find out. So I think this, I don't know Daryl, what a pre-appraisal, a pencil appraisals cost, a couple $100.
Actually, a lot of them are free. It just it kind of depends on who you know and who you ask and stuff. Also, Carolina, since Ryan bumped me, on the RPR, find out how many stars it is, because it's 1 to 5 stars. 5 stars is the best. That means that they have good comps. If it's less than 5 stars, they don't have really good. If it's 4 stars,
I think it was 3.5.
Let's say you need.
I think it was.
Yeah, you need to check that out, because unless it's a 5 star, that they've used really good comps on that. So you definitely, like Ryan said, I would probably go for the appraisal. I'd get a full appraisal on it.
Okay, so did someone say, were we talking about this, which I probably missed, but it's important to do appraisals now with what's going on in the market. Okay, so I missed that part of the conversation.
And it's not just what's going on in the market, Carolina. I've always thought this is a good idea for higher priced houses. Because, if you're off a small piece on a $350,000 house, well, that's $10,000. But if it's on a $700,000 house, that's $20,000. That little percentage that you're off is blown more, and you get into 1.2 million, and now you're off, $40,000, $50,000 from what you could get for that house, or you're just ridiculously overpriced and you're going to look like a fool. So either way, it's
Super
important.
helpful.
Yeah, it's super
And
helpful.
the other house that I was thinking, I did my CMA at 750 in like the Bella Colina area, but it's an older home in that particular area of Mount Verde. But
Yeah.
I saw something and I was like, oh, you could possibly do this. But then I saw RPR, that home at 466. I'm like, how do they get this information? But Daryl, that's really important. I'll have to look at the stars on that particular property, because I didn't notice that one. On the other one, I did. Thank you.
Yeah, not a lot of people buying in Mont Verde at 460 unless it has wheels on it. So
Exactly.
that's a pretty
Okay.
fancy area these days. As you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Vivian, but I would do the same thing though. Think about the appraisal
Appraisal.
beforehand. Put it on, if you're paying for it, put it on the cancellation fee, just in case you work with somebody who
Perfect.
gets upset with you or they don't want. So you get that appraisal and it comes in at 600 and they think their house is worth 750 and they don't want to work with you, or they get mad at you in the first month or something because you can't sell their house for 750 when it's really worth 600, or the first buyer falls apart, first buyer backs out as soon as they, take a good look at it, and then you get your money.
So you're suggesting to do the appraisal before the listing or after you list?
No, after they sign that thing. So that's one of the first things we're going to do. Get that. I'm gonna get photos and an appraisal. We're gonna make sure we're priced right.
Got it. Okay.
All right. So you'll have some idea of the price before you go in, and then you say, but I'd like to get an appraisal on it. And you can even do that before your listing date, guys. You don't have to, when they sign the papers, you can sign it. And I know you guys do this all the time for a week from now, sign it, because I got to get pictures. I got to do all this. I got to have it on the MLS within 24 hours. So I've got to get pictures and everything first, right? Before this date comes. You don't go have it signed on Tuesday and say, I'll have it on in 3 hours, because you don't have pictures. You don't have anything yet. Vivian.
So I have a listing that's going to be signed today. It's a double lot in Tampa on Davis Island. And so if there's anybody that works in the Tampa area that wants more information, please reach out.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Very excited.
Awesome. We'll share that on our Facebook page too. We have it's all up and down that coast, from Clearwater down to Sarasota. So
Yeah, they had to wait for their insurance payout before they could sign the paperwork with me.
Okay, good. I've got a couple people that I would want. So these are pretty fancy lots, obviously, on Davis Island.
Yeah.
Are they're waterfront?
No, corner lot. Both of them are corner lots.
Okay, but they're not waterfront.
No.
Okay. We have a very high-end guy in St. Pete who does a lot of beach stuff, St. Pete beach stuff. So I don't know if he does lots of stuff. He does a lot of luxury homes, but I'll give you his information if you want to contact him.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. His name is Tim Shields. Remind me if I don't do that. I'm doing two people right now.
Yeah, because I texted you about the lady that I want you to contact as well?
I already did.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I did before and didn't hear back, but I'll do it again.
okay, thank you.
All right. Tammy.
Well, the one thing about having an appraiser do an appraisal is it kind of takes the burden off of you in the pricing area. So you don't feel like if they're mad if it's underpriced or, I just think it's kind of a nice idea.
And so when you have that conversation with people, you're putting that off on somebody else, but they need to know why. And you need to explain to them, not everybody knows like we do, that if we sell this for more than it's worth, we're just wasting our time anyway. So because they're going to get shot down at appraisal, right? And then they're going to come back to us and want to work out something else. I mean, you're doing your job if you sell it for more than appraisal, but also you're wasting everybody's time if it's ridiculously more and you can't work out the difference. So you need to let the sellers know they're going to come back to us. If this thing appraises at 500 and we sell it for 550, they're going to come back to us unless they're a cash buyer, they're going to come back to us and want to negotiate that because they're not going to be able to bring an extra 50 grand to closing or whatever it is. So, or a lot of them that can bring more money to closing, they're embarrassed that they paid too much. The buyer's agent's embarrassed that they let them pay too much. You guys have done that before. You guys have sold something as a buyer's agent and been like, and then appraisals come back ridiculously low. And it's kind of embarrassing. Like, why did you let me pay this much for this house? It's like, we got to contest this appraisal. It's ridiculous, right? So we blame the appraiser, which is usually right, but a house is worth, see, this is where I get into, I go on a soapbox. Anything is worth whatever someone's willing to pay for it. So that house is, if you sold it for 550, that's what it's worth. Unfortunately, the bank's not going to loan that much money. And so, but you need to explain to your sellers why it's important.
Most listing appointments, you need to have that conversation with them anyway about pricing, because if it's overpriced, the appraisal is going to be an issue, and that needs to be part of the discussion.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
you always have that discussion. Well, hopefully we'll find a cash buyer, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen you guys, some of you guys have had cash buyers before that have appraisal contingency. I'm like, what is that? You don't need an appraisal just to make sure we're not an idiot. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good reason. But when you do put it off on an appraiser, you need to explain why. Say, this is why the appraiser. I'm a professional, and what value I give you is what I think it's worth. But we need to make sure that an appraiser agrees with that. So when a buyer comes along, they're actually going to qualify and not try to renegotiate this thing. Plus, we don't want to sell it for less. It's also bad when you're listing something and the appraisal comes back too high. You don't typically know about it. I don't want to know about it, but it's not good. If they say, you guys have had buyer's agent tell you before, oh yeah, it appraised plenty. And you're like, oh no. All right. So any other questions? Jenny.
Hey, sorry, I might have missed this. I just wanted to ask for George where his listing will be when it goes live. What area is it located in?
George, you're on mute, bud.
Back from helping my wife bring groceries in. The listing is on the Deltona Golf Course on the north end of Deltona.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, we've got Legends and Deltona Golf Club covered. I probably hit both of those houses with golf balls before. It's good to know.
Free golf balls. There's a 5 gallons. I sold the house next door. That's how I got this referral. And we picked up 5 gallons of golf balls first week.
They weren't all mine, but there's some of them might be.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we go? All right, guys. Thank you all for coming. We've got some really good stuff the next couple of weeks. And I'm really excited about the 22nd. Next week will be good too, but the 22nd is going to be really good for you guys. We have a special guest. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Happy New Year to everyone. And good luck. Go get them. Hopefully this market's picking up.
Hey, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
I need to switch from referral over to Thompson.
You do.
How lengthy a process is that?
Depends on how fast you fill out the paperwork. We can have it done today. I'll send you the package right now.
Yeah, send me the package. I'll get it. I'm not in that big of a rush.
Okay, bud.
Right there.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you, everybody.